Good afternoon. Shaggy try that again. Take two. Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal 2Old4Forza. Time for the final track guide for this TNT season in the Bentley GT3. We're going to conclude the season at Sebring, and it's fitting because I'm sitting here in California and we're having a nice rainy day. Another system coming through and happens loaded the overcast uh, Sebring weather here in game. But anyhow, just what we're going to do, the same thing I'm going to do as I always do. I'll run an out lap or two at speed, kind of talking through it, then maybe do a slower lap, kind of break down what I'm looking for, what I think the car is going to do, what the issues I'm having, and then I'll do a mock race of what I think might be about half distance. Again, I literally have only done like 5 laps with the wheel here to get a feel for the car. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I'll get things sorted out. But let's start with the test drive here. I've talked about in the past how this Bentley, it was nice to be in a car that wasn't as impacted by curbing. Not so much. That's not really entirely true at Sebring. I think there's going to be a lot of curbing that you're going to have to be careful of, and mainly it's going to be the curbings through some of these corners here. At least with me with the wheel, the controller didn't always bother me too much, but the wheel getting onto some of those curves upsets the car a little bit more than I'm expecting. Again, I'm not running traction control, so I think I'm probably going to struggle here a little bit out of the slow corners. So keep that in mind if you're trying to set up a pass. You might just be better served timing your run out of the slow corners to take advantage of the fact that I'm not going to get back to the throttle as quickly. Tower turn, that's still got to work on that. Yeah, I turned a little bit earlier. I might need to adjust that. Oh, that's a little too wide. Yeah, can you tell I haven't really run many laps here? And down to Sunset. I think it's Sunset Turn, Sunset Bend. That was a little early. All right, let's do one more. Let's do a, now the tires are warmed up, let me do one more quick one, see what I can do. Now, I'm gonna brake just past the telephone wires here. That's better. Apex there. Naturally drift out. Braking just before the 3 board. Heavy braking, that's going to be on. I might adjust my pedals for that. I really have to stand on the brakes to get better. Back straightaway. Start to arc in at 2. I've gone a little bit quicker, but okay, let's do the kind of the slow breakdown. Now I was talking about coming down the front straightaway here. As far as the things I look for, to kind of correlate with the braking line as far as static uh boy, I can't get my words right today, but static things I look for is, these telephone wires that are going across the track are usually a good static reference point. There we go. Um, that's usually a good reference point. It's easy to see. It doesn't matter if you're following somebody, you're going to see those wires. Just know that is, depending on the view you're in, you'll have to gauge where it's at. But generally, just as you go under them, like for me in hood view, just as those go out of view, is a good static reference point of, okay, I need to start braking for turn 1. The other thing I look at is, I guess that's, guys kind of hooked up their own little viewing stand there. That's the other one that I'll look at. That's easy to spot. So it's usually braking for turn 1 is between those wires and that spectator stand. Now you can, going up the front straightaway, you can arc over the line here. You can straddle it, but you're really not leaving yourself a lot of room on the wall. So I would say, especially if you're in traffic or you're trying to set up a pass, it's give yourself some room. So I wouldn't. I think for me, it's like I don't know that I'm going to be straddling over this line at all to set up for turn 1. So I'll be off a little bit there. Brake, 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 brake. It's not heavy braking compared to some of the other turns that we're going to have, but you do want to scrub the, brake, get the speed down, drop down a gear, I think down to 4th. Turn in, I don't have a static reference when I'm turning in. I am kind of relying on the braking line a little bit, though I tend to turn in a little bit earlier. Partly it's probably habit from AI, maybe not, but the consequences if I don't get it parked on the apex or I don't make sure that I'm set correctly at the apex, then I'm probably going to exit early and go wide. So just be careful getting it turned in. It's a nice arcing turn in. You're actually, it was pointed out in another video, it's like when you turn in for turn 1 at Sebring, you actually don't see the apex on turn in. I mean, most turns you're always, when you're at turn in point, you're looking for the apex. You're not going to, apex is so late here, so you're going to arc it in. Where that cone is the apex, and I guarantee that cone's going to be gone. And again, through track limits, I've complained about this in the other video, and we'll see what the next motorsport game does. But to me, track limits should be the wall, and it's like for this course, we should be able to use the inside there. Now in the real Sebring, what they actually do is where that cone would be, that cone is actually stuck at the top of the catch fence on the pole, so that they can see it there, and there's usually a sign there. So hopefully there's these little things that I'm seeing in the real world that they do at the track that I'm hoping motorsport, when the next game comes out, that they include some of those little things there. So put that cone up on the top of the fence so we don't hit it and knock it all over the place, or actually put, there's actually, they put like almost like a zero braking board sign at the apex. That would give a little better static resource. But enough talking about that. So again, you'll arc it in. Again, as you get to the apex, you're really not going to see the exit until you're out a little bit more. And even here, it's really tough to see. But the second you can spot it, like from here, you can see the kind of the 2 mobile signs. If you're aiming for the second one, the one that's a little further down the track, and you can just see just in front of that, the beginning of the curbing, that's what I'm trying to look for on the exit. I still do it mostly by feel, but you're going to slowly get back into the throttle, exit out, and if you do it right, you'll be out on the right side here, heading down to the next, heading down to technically turn 3, because I think turn 2 is this little kink here. So you'll be in fourth gear, and you can wind it up to fourth gear if you want. If you want to put it in fifth, that's up to you. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. Regardless, you're going to start braking right as you get about to the three board here. At least that's where I think I've been doing it. And heavy braking down to third gear. Turn in is late because, again, here's another one. Because of the way the wall is, you really can't see where the apex. So again, for these next couple of corners, I mean, you want to get through there cleanly, but really, as far as like if you had to say which one's the most important one, it is going to be the last left-hander here getting onto, and I forget what the name of the straight is. See, I don't know. Despite what the rumors, I don't know the names of everything. Big Bend, I think that's what they call it. So the left-hander of the Big Bend straight is going to be the most important. So you really always, if you mess up the beginning, getting into these first two, really make sure you've got a good exit out of Big Bend, onto Big Bend straight away. So turning in here, it's going to be late. You'll see the cone that's kind of saying, and it's right towards the end of the curb. So you do want to late apex that. It actually sets you up nicely for the next corner. Um, on the controller, I would abuse the hell out of these curbs. I don't know that I can do that with the wheel. There's enough of a jolt that I don't know that with the wheel it's going to be any faster. I mean, I'm going to straddle the yellow line a little bit and try to keep the car to the right side. Turn in is kind of just past where that cone is, though I can't guarantee it's going to be there during the race. But this is a late turn in. Again, I think I'll be doing this in third gear. And if you get it right, you'll be able to really get back to the throttle and accelerate down the straightaway here. Again, leave yourself a little wiggle room because it gets really narrow into the bridge here. You don't want to get caught in the tire barriers there. And as you accelerate down, again, I'll just usually hug the inside and then just let the car naturally on its own just drift its way or move its way over to the left-hand side to set up for the hairpin. Braking for me for the hairpin is right about, it's just before the three board, but what I'm also looking at is I'm probably going to be really braking right where this discoloration in the pavement is. For me, this is the other one where it is heavy braking. I think, at least for me, transitioning to the wheel, I think this is the most pressure I've put on the brake pedals since I've gotten them. So that's where I'm thinking I may adjust the dead zone on the decel, just so that it gets to full pressure a little bit quicker. That might make my life easier. Turn in again for me. This will be late. I think in the Ford GT where I was talking about is that you could kind of use the ending of the curbing here on the left side as kind of the indicator. Like when you get to the end of it, that's probably where you really want to kind of release the brakes and start turning in. Again, you probably can get away with getting on the blue and white curbing, but you definitely don't want to get on the yellow. And this is also a late apex where you really want to. Wheel doesn't like being on that curb. You want to have it kind of pointed straight out this way. So I'm probably not going to get on the curbing at the hairpin all that much, even the blue and white. I may, if I do, I'll clip it late once I'm straight. But definitely as I'm rolling back into power, I'm going to use this curve on the left side. And I probably don't need to touch the curve on the right at all. And then this is just a nice, gentle, kind of double apex corner. Only turn the wheel as much as you need to get through it. You don't necessarily even have to use all of the track. You can late apex this one. You can let the car drift out to half track and bring it back. You can hug the inside. There are a lot of different lines you can take here flat out. Getting down to the next corners here. Again, for me, I'm going to be braking. I want to say it's tough. I think the three board's too late. For at least for me, we'll see how I do in the race. But again, this is another one of those. I'm probably going to be looking at the discoloration of the pavement more than anything else, and kind of judge based off of that. Again, because the braking line, it's sometimes accurate, but sometimes it lies to you. So it's always best to As you get into rhythm, if you can find other more static reference points to kind of correlate, that's going to make your lap times more consistent. At least that's my theory. But I'll probably be braking somewhere around where this particular discoloration is to get into this in the next corner. For this one, again, another heavy braking. I'm probably going to be doing this. I think turn in for me is going to be just as I'm getting to the curbing here on the outside. But this is another late for me. I've seen videos where like real track guides where they talk about that there's two schools of thought for it. Where my habit is what I'll probably do is I'll late apex this this right-hander, so that I'm on the right side of the track. They kind of open up the double apex left as I'm trying to work up through the gearings. Again, I'm not running traction control. This is one of the areas where if you are running TC, expect it to kick in, and just be mindful of how much weight transfer you have going in weight transfer that's on the car. Because again, if the TC kicks in while the back's trying to slide out, that's really going to kill your speed. So the other one is I've also seen it described as you can use all of the road here on the exit and have it all the way to the left to do the next corners. Yeah, I I don't know. I'll let you guys figure that out. But for me, I like being mostly on the right side. So third gear, I might leave it in third, pop it to fourth after the first apex, and I may have to breathe the throttle here. This is about where the traction control, you'll feel it kick in. Up to fourth gear, and then tower turn. Very deceptive turn. Again, you're going to be almost full throttle, on the approach to tower turn here. With the braking line, what I'm trying to look at is you'll see you can kind of see the light gray right in front of the car. That gets a little bit darker, then really dark where the braking is. And I think for me, the braking is just as I'm getting into this next increase in the gray. It's going to be about here for the braking. I tend to like to try and square this one up if I can, is to get parallel to the left-hand side so that I can get the car brake downshift and through the corner. The thing you got to be careful of is just the nature of the kink right before that is you really want to make sure that you're not getting onto the curb, that you're not drifting out and getting onto the curb as you're trying to turn in, because the edge of that curb is going to upset the back of the car. It'll get wiggly, and you'll probably do a nice four-wheel drift through the corner. It won't be fast, but you might get through it. So out here, I'll downshift it. I think this is going to be third gear for me. In real life, this corner is slightly, banked in your favor at the apex. So that's where a lot of people, they will say, if you look at all the tire marks and all the really heavy uh, discolorations way on the inside, is they'll actually, instead of turning it all the way out to the left, they'll kind of keep it to the inside for this corner. Again, I'm probably more of a traditionalist. I'd rather open the entry up and late apex it, let the car drift out to the left-hand side. Third gear, fourth gear. Not sure if you get up to fifth, but for this next double apexer, it is a double apex. Just dial a little bit of just what you need. I'm probably going to stay off the curbing here as well to not upset the car at all. But I do want to have the car, for me, I want to have the car on the left side here, braking for the next turn. I'm actually probably going to start braking where that curbing ends and the grass begins. That's going to be my reference point. I'm still trying to sort out exactly where to get the braking done. Turn in, I do tend to differ from the braking line a bit, whereas I tend to turn in a little bit early, so that I'm getting to this curbing. And again, on the controller, we'll cross over this. We'll see how easily I can do that in the race. But I'm trying to get it ideally here so that I can open this up so I can cut back across. Because ultimately, again, kind of like earlier where you have the couple left rights before getting onto the straightaway, I want to be set on the left side here exiting that last part of the kink, and then bring the car across the white line. Again, the cones here kind of designate, you don't want to go that far out, to open up. But I'm going to try and get across the white line to open up for this next, for the corner onto the to the Ullman Straight here. So I'll be in fourth gear at this point. I'll probably brake and downshift to third. And one things I want to point out is this is just what my eyes perceive, and it's harder to point out stopped or slow. But this corner on the Ullman Straight, I mean, it's kind of almost a 90-degree corner, but that curbing is not perfectly, round and even. It's got a couple, like it'll start and then it flattens out a bit, and then it'll curve again, it flattens out a bit. So I can visually, you can pick out, there's a section right about where the apex is, where that curbing, the curve kind of flattens a little bit. So there's a sharp curve, a little sharp point before it and a sharp point after it. It's the second one that I'm going to be trying to aim for. It'll make sense at speed, but it is about, it'll, and I'm way offline to show this, but I will try and cross over the curbing a little bit, cross over the yellow line to get on the exit. And depending on how much momentum I'm carrying, you may get onto the curbing there on the left side. It'll upset the car slightly. Just make sure you get onto the track before you hit the grass. Heading down the back straight, down to Sunset Bend. So you're going to wind it out in fifth gear. Now, what I've been doing, what I think is going to work is you're going to hit by 3. As I'm passing 2, I'm going to start to turn the car in initially, because if you look at the track map, it's like you have the first apex and it kind of straightens out, and then you have the bend for the second half of the corner. So I'm going to kind of set the car up so that I'm kind of angled and kind of brake in a straight line, let the car drift out, release the brakes, and then that'll put me hopefully in a good spot. Then I can take the second part of the corner and navigate the bumps. So I'll be bringing the car back over here. I'll be braking right about where the line turns yellow. And if I've done it right, I will kind of probably clip over the line here a little bit, brake, 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 brake. And where I'm going to release the brakes, if I've done it right, just kind of right about here. I don't want to go all the way out to the white line. And usually I'm going to probably be looking at kind of referencing those Forza flags there, as I'm kind of, as they're starting to go out of view. I should have the car slowed down enough where I can release the brakes, drop it to third, and then I'm set up to then do a turn in. I'm going to hug the line on the inside here. There's going to be some bumps, just probably going under the O there in Mobile, under the bridge. And I'm going to look, and this is me, and who knows if I'll be able to do this in the race. Kind of keep it close to the grass there on the exit. And then again, because of Forza track limits, in the real world, the wall is the track limit. But in Forza, that white line on the outside is where it's going to have the track limit. And it's very easy, especially as you're trying to carry speed out, if you exit too early, to cross over that line and get a time penalty. So if I can hug that inside coming out, I'm going to look for the TV camera guy on the scaffolding there, and kind of use that as a reference point of saying I want the car parallel with him as I get to him, and that hopefully should keep me in the track boundary as I finish the lap of Sebring. And then again, I'll just slowly start to let the car come back across to the right hand side to set up for turn 1. So that's a lap of Sebring. This is going to be interesting. I think, unlike Bernese Alps, where there was just a lot of momentum and light braking like that, and not a lot of slow corners, this one I think I'm going to struggle a little bit at. So we'll see how things go. But again, enough talk on the track guide here. Let's get out of test drive. And let's do, whoops, nope. There we go. There we go. Yes, I do want to finish the test drive session. And let's get into a race. I'm going to speculate. I did like 5 laps before I started the stream, just to kind of get a feel for the car. based off of that, I think for the stream here, I'm going to do 17. That means we're going to be in the 30s somewhere as far as for Thursday's race. So maybe 34 might be a little much. It might be a lap or two less than that, but just figure if you just kind of burn in your head, it's going to be around 30 laps, I think, for the race easily. It just depends on what everybody else's times are when Matt kind of does that race distance calculation. The one change I'm going to make in the cars I'm going to race against is instead of the P2 car starting at the back, I've got next season's car that's going to start in the back. Though I'm going to let them go a little early because I think PI wise they're going to be the slowest cars out there. So let's go ahead and get into the race. So again, starting up front, I've got the Forza GT class, which this Bentley's in, but those guys are pretty slow. I'll catch them. Next group in front of them is the prototype racing group, which is those classic Can-Am prototypes from the 60s and 70s. And then for the group in the back that I will catch probably in the first couple of laps is next season's car, which is that Ford Gymkhana Ford Focus in honor of Ken Block. It'll be interesting to do some test laps in that, and I don't know what tracks Matt's going to pick. But my remembrances is I think we're going to want to work on the final drive gearing and give that car the ability to get top end. Usually those kind of Hoonigan drift cars are more set up for hooning than racing. So we'll probably want to work on that depending on what tracks we're going to race at. But all right, overcast day in Florida. Let's see what we can do. All right, gotta remember cold tires, cold tires. Yeah, I turn in early, but then that means I have to spend a little bit more time off throttle at the apex to make sure I don't go wide on exit. Whoops, no, third gear. See, I can't talk and drive at the same time. All right, so a little bit wide, but I think we can. Yeah, the next time I get onto the back straight, just watch how the curve of that curbing goes, and you'll see it's not entirely even. And if you can see that, then you can look at points on that curbing to use as your apex. If I can try and do that a little bit later. I think the key to making passes at Sebring and any racetrack is if you're going to be looking at passing somebody, trying to outbrake them into the sharp corner like that hairpin, that pass actually starts all the way back at the turn that leads onto that straightaway. You really want to have a good run out of there, because the best passes are ones that you're already alongside as you get to braking. It's much easier. Hear the little bit of wheel spin there at the back. I think I'm turning in too early there. That focus is pulling away. 6. There's much more time out there. I think 204s are possible. Maybe not by me, but I think Stu and Lanrell and probably Fearless will be able to clock a lap down in there. And I might, but again, I don't know if they run traction control or not. I think that'll make a big difference. If you're not running traction control, again, roll into the throttle, but really try and make sure that you're rolling in to the throttle once, as far as really getting on the throttle, once the car is mostly straight. You don't want that to happen. And if you're running traction control and that starts to happen, traction control is just going to kick in like a sledgehammer. Maybe third gear all the way through Le Mans is the way to go. Yeah, could probably carry a little bit more speed there. Boy! Ah! I'm not going to out-accelerate the focus out of the corner. Hurts you all-wheel drive. But even there, if you noticed, the drivatar didn't give it full beans until the car was straight. Oh, come on. I'm wondering. I don't know. I don't have the legs down the back straight, but I'm wondering if I've got the if I were a little bit, if I gave a little bit more of a gap getting onto the back straightaway, if I at least maybe have, since I can take the corner a little bit more momentum, maybe I can at least get alongside him out of the corner. Like here, this is a slow enough. Yeah, he's making me run his pace, but he's got so much better acceleration anyway. So behind me, and we're starting to catch some of the back markers here, or at least the other classes. What I'm going to try and do is, just with the all-wheel drive, there's no way I'm going to, and I'm not running traction control, there's really no way I'm going to out-accelerate them out of a slow corner. What I want to try and do is time it getting onto the back straightaway and see if maybe I can get a little bit of a run and get alongside, and maybe at that point I can get the AI to check up and back off. Ooh, that was almost too wide. I know he's going to be slow through here, so let me back off a little bit. Yeah, this is about the let's keep about this distance if we can. Almost. Back end got a little squirrely. But yeah. So that's kind of, again, just as you're catching people, is understanding where you're quicker. And then, give yourself a little bit of space to try and capitalize on that as best you can. I'm going to take a look. Still out there, so I got to give him space. There we go. I know he's going to get a run on me down here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of sit it just about the middle, just to make sure. Nope, no chance. Great. Then I'll just go back on the regular line. But again, now that I'm clear of him and I can run my pace, I'll probably pull away from him and to the point where he's not going to catch me on the back straightaway where he's got a top end advantage. I keep sneaking out there wide. One of these times I'm going to hit that curb. Slide, slide, slide. Just to practice it, I'm going to put it in the middle and see what going into Sunset Bend in the middle is like. Yeah, so the car's going to drift a little wide if I don't give it a little extra braking. Oh, that's a little late on the turn in. A little time there. Ooh, almost got a little wide. Yeah, the car is definitely... Once I put it down in the third, it's like the front end bites up just that little bit more, and it's turns in a little bit earlier than I wanted to for the second half of Sunset. That is what happens when you don't give the car, you don't brake enough, and you lose the front end. That happened to me at Bernie's. I tried to stick a pass at the bottom of the hill on Matt and just didn't get all the braking done and just lost the front end, and the car just plowed straight off. What are we on? This should pit. And then still sliding a little bit there. Oh no, it's the pink pig. Still turning in a little too early there. All right, let's go ahead and pit. Thought I'd be in a little bit more traffic. We'll see how the second half of the race goes. Actually, what I am going to do really quick is, can I do that here? Yeah, I can. So just for the second half, what I'm going to do is when I talk about the dead zones. So in getting the wheel, the only changes I've made as far as to the advanced settings was for the acceleration, deceleration, inside dead zones. I've reduced it, I think, from 10 to 5, or it might have been as high as 15. But the whole idea is I wanted the brakes to grab a little sooner. But I left let's see, that's acceleration, and I think it's the other change I made. I moved the acceleration dead zone to 100% on the outside. So again, throttle pedal, it's going to take a little bit of pressure before it starts to engage, but then I've got the full thing. So for here, I think that's the default setting. What I want to do is if I'm understanding the dead zone right, I want to lower that value a little bit so that at least the way I'm braking, I can get a little bit more closer to, because I'm really having to stand on the brake, which I guess from an immersion standpoint is probably accurate. But what I want to do is I'm just going to lower it down to 85, and we'll see how that is in the race. At least for the second half, am I now getting to a point where I'm locking the brakes? And if I'm locking them too much, then I know I can bring that dead zone back up a little bit, and keep it as far as to kind of fine tune the pedals to how I drive. But I think we'll leave everything else alone, and I'm still running 540 down here. Yep. So good. All right, so let's go ahead and accept that. And back to the race. So for me, for pit exit, there's no, unlike other tracks where there's like a definitive line that designates the line out to rejoin. Sebring's not that way. It just tends to be once you get released, you get released. But I think from a safety standpoint, usually I'm going to keep it on the outside of the yellow line until I get straight, and then I'll cross over here. I think that's the easiest way to get back on without putting yourself at risk of getting hit, or without getting hit. You don't want to mess your race up, and certainly you don't want to come right out and cross in front of somebody that's that's charging into turn one. Bit better. Yeah, that might do the trick. Because again, I'm not one that I don't want to get into this thing of where I'm like trying to push the brake pedal through the floor. Jeez. All right, let's see if I can get him on the exit. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, I should run traction control. Again, there was a certain point I kept the foot in the gas when the back started to move, hoping that, it would kind of straighten back out or I could correct it. But when it was like, nope, I'm not going to recover it. It's just get off the gas so that the rear stops spinning. Oh, you brake really early there. And just get the car locked down, and then roll back in and get it straightened back out. Yeah, that, at least so far, I think that dead zone adjustment is, yeah, still not getting quite all the speed scrubbed down, but again, I think for me, it's like I want the brakes locking, when I've given it the maximum amount of braking, or when I really tromp on it. Yeah, see? I'm gonna go back and look at that, because I know I pushed the brake pedal. Maybe I need to adjust the inside dead zone. Maybe lower that down to 0. I think I'm now trying to be really subtle with just touching the brakes, and the brakes aren't engaging because it's still in that 5% dead zone. That's twice I've had it where I've just tried to touch the brakes and have gone wide, getting onto the Big Bend straight. Oh, I got a little wide. Got the left rear on the grass. Somebody's stuck. No, it's not land rail. One of the driver tires hit the tire barrier there on the right side. Try and stay off those inside curbs. Just not getting the car slowed down. See if I can close this lap out. So we got a good lap going. That could have been better. That's better. If I can do that again. Remember, I can turn the wheel a little bit more. So at least another 2/10 there. A little too much braking there. I'm not carrying as much speed in as I should. I apologize. I totally misread how fast the AI were going to be here compared to me. I guess I'm really slow. I was hoping to have a little bit more traffic to work through. Still salvaged a decent lap. better. That was late. Way late on the brakes. So that's probably going to cost me a tenth or two. Almost 3/10 since I was almost a tenth up and I'm almost 2/10 down. And then pushed a little there. There's the 2/10 that I'm missing. So I know 204 is out there. 204, high 204 is out there. It's just I have the talent to find it. Maybe third gear. I don't like. The only reason I was not doing third gear getting into those corners was mainly just it's so high. You're almost hitting the road limiter right as you're getting to the turn for the backstretch. But that might be the way to go. All right, come on. Let's see if we can get a 204. For the splotch on the road. Try third gear again instead of fourth. And that might be the way to go. Let third gear help slow me down. Didn't lose much time. Let's see if I can hold on to that 2/10 for the end of the race. Ah, 2:04.9. Yay. So yeah, there's time out there. I'd imagine with some practice, I might find another couple of tenths, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Lanrell and Stu down in mid to low 204s. But that Sebring, sorry, I totally messed up on understanding how quick actually the AI are here because it's power track. So that's going to benefit a lot of them. We're running a lot more downforce, but that's Sebring. Again, 37 minutes for 17 laps. So yeah, 34 might be a little much. So maybe 30 to 32 for the race on Thursday. But with that, I need to practice. This is going to be a little bit of a struggle here, but hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Thursday. Happy racing.